7:30 in the morning. It's Monday the 10th of February and I'm just having my breakfast now before I head off to the airport to catch the plane to San Francisco, where I'll be attending Startup Grind in Redwood City in the heart of Silicon Valley. Okay, so we're just waiting for the train to arrive here at Great Malvern and then we'll be on our way to Heathrow. So if you haven't heard about Startup Grind before, it's an initiative that was started by Derek Anderson about 10 years ago and features entrepreneurs at a global conference that they hold each year in Redwood City. Format's great because they often invite well-known entrepreneurs who've worked in well-known tech startups, typical Silicon Valley startups, to talk about their experience in a kind of fireside chat format, often with their own investors or people that they worked with. It's about 9:15 in the evening now. We've finally arrived at Redwood City in the heart of Silicon Valley, just outside the Fox Theatre, where the Startup Grind will start tomorrow. So it's all quiet now, but tomorrow the streets will be full and we'll get some video of that. Feeling rather tired. It's been a long haul, mainly because it takes about 2 hours to clear customs at San Francisco. See you in the morning. So the first clip I thought I'd share with you from the auditorium of Startup Grind was a talk, particular highlights from Nico Bonatsis. He's an investor in Silicon Valley. He talks about some of the things he's expecting to see from entrepreneurs in the future.
Hello everyone, I'm excited to be back at Startup Grind. It sounds like it's been a grind for me over the last couple of years. I've been working hard to make it all the way to the main stage, so thank you for making it happen for me. So I don't care how you look like if you're a founder. I've been saying that. I also don't care what your accent is like. Mine accent is very funny and silly. I don't care where you've worked before. I also don't care which school you went to or maybe you managed to drop out of. Paul Graham said this about a decade ago, that the very best startup ideas tend to have three things in common. There's something the founders themselves want, that they themselves can build, and that few realize are worth doing. I think we talked about the first couple of points with some of the examples I highlighted before, but in my mind, in 2020, where we are right now, the third one is a key point. The next wave of innovation has to be for everyone. And as a result, the next wave of founders and innovators have to look a lot more like everyone else from all over the world with very diverse backgrounds and life experiences. So, obviously, whatever you're doing, if you're founders, you're going to build for yourself. But today, in 2020, you got to be building for yourself, especially if you have an outsider point of view. And that's important. If you're based here in the Valley, you go to Stanford or all the other fancy colleges, the echo chamber is like messing up with your mind. We only talk about crypto, SDKs, APIs. Like that stuff is not relevant for most of the world. So if you're an outsider with an outsider point of view, probably you know which technologies the majority of the people would need. Also, you have a much better idea of what kind of problems that few people here may have, and they also realize it's worth doing. So I think that's a really, really big opportunity, because when you're solving problems from Main Street, you have huge potential for impact and success. So that's a space that personally I'm the most interested in, and I've been investing along the way over the last couple of years. It's happening because there has been a big shift over the last few years. Today, Silicon Valley is a mindset. You do not have to be here in order to be successful. You can read about the lean startup methodology. You can read about how we're hyping up novel technologies here with all the cool marketing and growth hacking stuff we've been doing. You can read about that stuff on TechCrunch, on Hacker News. You can come to events like Startup Grind. If you're lazy, you can even watch some of this on Silicon Valley, the show, on HBO. So the question is, can you learn from all this stuff how to iterate rapidly on the product front, like historically Silicon Valley companies have been doing? Can you most importantly get hold of just one mentor who is uber connected over here, so you can have access to the entire network of Silicon Valley? That's all you need to do. So the best combination is bringing the outside point of view that you have, and then build the companies with that Silicon Valley mindset. As I mentioned, you don't need to be here. Reflecting on these thoughts, I had to basically revise my looking for in all the founders I'm meeting with. So now I do care how you look like. I do care about your accent and how you sound. I do care a lot about where you worked before. I also care about which school you graduated or even dropped out of. But the difference this time around is that the more you don't look and sound like Silicon Valley, and the more you can show that you can understand the point of view of the 95%, the more I want to hear from you. If you sound like this kind of person, please contact me. Here's my email address. Thank you for your attention.
So the session continued with more discussions from, for example, Eddie Liu of Goat Group and Jennifer Hyman of Rent the Runway. But I thought we'd hear some highlights from a discussion between Leela Preston, an investor, and Joshua Reeves, the CEO of Gusto.
We started the company 8 years ago now, and you're right, to your question, something that was on our mind early on was we wanted to build this kind of multi-decade durable business, and we really thought about people being at the core of every company. We were kind of surprised by some of the language in our industry. So when you look at the broader space we're in, there's language like human capital management, HCM, there's this concept human resource information systems, ADP used to stand for automated data processing, and it just seemed like a very dehumanizing, sterile, cold way of talking about building a business where people are always going to be the foundation. So that was kind of one of the things that got us interested in the space in the first place, was realizing that actually work in a lot of companies isn't living up to what it can or should be, and could we focus more on the people side of it?
Arrive at a kind of an investment idea, we do a lot of research, which we call roadmaps, and there was a roadmap on future of work, and again, our colleague Shalini, who led much of this, looking at ways in which technology could help broaden compensation and benefits for underserved parts of the market. And notoriously at the small business segment has been hard to serve, and so I'd really be interested in sort of how did you decide to go after this, and how have you succeeded when so many other companies have really struggled?
So we feel like early in the journey, but thank you for that compliment. We do serve over 100,000 companies now today across the United States. Our focus today is still on the domestic market. And I guess if I were to go back to the early days, we really wondered, if you look at small business, it's always been a big segment. So there's about 98% of the companies in the US in that 1 to 100 employee segment. From a workforce standpoint, it's about a third of the workforce. But it's incredibly fragmented. And when we looked at even competition, it was very, very fragmented. So we wondered that question, why hasn't this segment been served? Why hasn't it been helped? And we had kind of two hypotheses that have frankly been proven true and have helped us grow, but I think help others tackle small business. One is that you had to have the right technologies in place to go offer a product to this segment. And in particular, you needed things like paperless, cloud, and mobile to be well established. Small businesses are not in offices like yours or mine. They're on the go, they're in cars, they're in shops, they're in stores. And someone isn't going to go install software 15 years ago on their desktop computer at home. Late at night, they're going to go meet and do something with someone face-to-face, which is, again, how most small businesses have worked. Very manual, very, very paper-based. And so we didn't have to go invent cloud or paperless or mobile. We frankly benefit from those trends. But it enabled us to offer a product that actually can be used by anyone with no training, no background in building a business, hiring, doing payroll, etc. And so that's one, I would say, pillar that enabled it. The second is, for anyone tackling any segment, you have to be able to build a product that's differentiated. You also have to be able to go acquire customers in a cost-effective way. And again, most of the folks in our space historically did outbound sales. That means you're going out and meeting folks face-to-face. You need to have a certain revenue per customer to justify that, and it mostly didn't work for small biz. And so again, it kind of just left small business kind of empty, no person's land, where they couldn't go get great technology, and they also weren't really being sold to. And so fortunately, again, we didn't have to go invent things like social or Google or online or content. We are able to leverage those specific channels. Word of mouth remains a big, big driver of our growth to actually get to these folks in a cost-effective way. So that's what I always say to folks if you're tackling small business. Again, make sure you have a differentiated solution, make sure you have a cost-effective way to go acquire them, and then make sure you look at the cohorts and make sure the revenue retention stays good, because obviously in small biz you also have a larger percentage of companies going out of business given how hard it is to run a small business. I guess first, and maybe as a lesson for companies in the room, is understand the trust that a customer has given you is something that you work really, really hard to earn and can be very easily lost. And so in our case, we have a lot of very private, very important information that's given to us by our customers related to their teams, related to their, obviously, to enable payroll processing, we need access to bank information. If you have benefits set up that ties to your family, your dependents. And so I guess one thing I really like is the alignment that exists in our business model, where we're a subscription business. If we provide value to you, you pay us. If we don't provide value, you leave us. So we actually get paid to protect your data, to keep it secure, and we take that job very, very seriously. I think as government and regulation gets more involved in it, we welcome those conversations. Frankly, the alignment with them is also pretty clean. They want to protect people's data and make sure that people don't get taken advantage of. Again, I think it's easier if you're in a subscription business model than other business models because the customers are paying us directly for the value we're providing. We're not trying to monetize that through other means.